Welcome to the Lotus Map Editor tutorial. In this episode we want to talk about request objects. To fasten up this video a little bit, I made a small traffic light system on my own map Dresden. And this is basically the traffic light for the left junction. And this is the traffic light for the main junction when you want to drive straight. Of course, I got an request object. This is this traffic light green request. Use the green traffic lights. And obviously this is from the standard package you have in Lotus by default. Yeah, and the other three objects are clear, I guess. This was the first thing. Second thing are the request boxes. This is named request trigger box and it's for a manual request for a trigger box. We set it up in a short moment. And the last object I created or I placed is this trigger box. And yeah, this is the normal object named trigger. It's in the helper category and you use it either for a switch or for a traffic light. These are the objects I placed in the map editor, and of course I created a traffic light system with these signals. We have a complete period of 100 seconds. This is the track for the left junction. This is the straight junction and this is the other junction, but we don't need this for our current video, but I created it. If you click on this new request button, you get a blank white line with this red bar on the left. Obviously you see here I created 3 request bars. The fourth one we obviously don't need, so click on minus to delete this request bar. Okay, that's all I did to do this video. And of course the first thing is we set up the objects to this traffic light. When we obviously do the first step to get the traffic light system working, we set the selected objects to the traffic light and the direction is for the left side. This is for the O to W. It's a German name, so in English it would be from east to west. The next thing is we have these request objects. We have to click on the button add request objects for these, and of course you got the left direction for the left traffic light and the east to west direction for the east to west traffic light. Okay, that was not that complicated. You do the same for these request trigger boxes. Once for east to west and for the left direction. And of course we got our trigger object, and this trigger object, you do a right click on it and go to trigger properties. And of course we only use these trigger boxes for the traffic light system and our request, and not for signal routes. So we use our system and we we'll do this for the east to west request. So this is the first thing. And as you can see here, the traffic light system doesn't work at all. There happens nothing because of some restrictions. And this restriction is set in this window. Okay, to be honest, I recorded the German video first and I had a real struggle to explain the upcoming section correctly, so I'll try my best, but it's well, it's not very complicated, but you will see what I mean. Because now we're gonna talk about the settings for these white bars, and yeah, if you click on one white bar with left click, you see this window. You got 3 settings: the starting time, the jump, and the if no request checkbox. This checkbox has a tooltip And this says if this checkbox is active, then the pause or the jump will be executed if there is no request normal, otherwise if the request is active. Okay, if you understood this at the first try, congratulations. If not, I explain it, and yeah, this will be fun. I guess if looking at this window, the starting time is the basic thing. It's simply the time where your jump or your pause would start. And there's the first thing you have to keep an eye on. You can set up a jump or a pause. A jump is obviously you miss or you skip some parts of this traffic light system when a request is called by a tram or a bus or whatever vehicle you drive. You look at this traffic light system. You got the two normal, let's say, directions from east to west and north to south. And this is a part of the traffic light system for the left direction, which is only called when a request is called. So in the normal case, we want to skip this direction. Obviously, we do this with a jump. This jump starts at 0 and jumps to 21 seconds. And now this looks like this. How does this work? Of course, the traffic light system will go from 0 to 100 seconds in a cycle over and over again. But now this checkbox is in place. And of course, we got this checkbox active. And if this checkbox is active, the pause or jump will be executed. This is the normal case then. If no request is called, this jump will be executed, and when the traffic light system starts, it automatically jumps to 21 seconds, and only these two green sections will be shown on the traffic light. If you get a request, the jump won't be executed, and this traffic light system will do a whole cycle with also the left track. Okay, this is the jump section. You normally use this to skip a part of this traffic light system. And this is something for very theoretical. When creating a traffic light system and you got some sections that aren't called or shown every time, you have to declare them as we did here in the first direction, or first track, whatever you call it. And sometimes you skip it and sometimes you don't. Now we got also the pause section, and the normal and default setting is you got a pause at time 0. So how does a pause work? Obviously, we're talking about requests. If a request is called, then basically nothing happens at the first time, but the traffic light system it keeps on its normal cycle. But if a pause is found, basically the traffic light system will stop at this pause until the request is done. To get a pause, you have to uncheck this jump checkbox, and obviously you want to set up an starting time, which is something about 45 seconds, a little bit later on, because you want to set the pause at the end of the screen section, because if the request is done, the traffic light system will continue at this point, and obviously you want a yellow bar, and the system should go on as expected, and you don't need an extra long green section afterwards. You can do it if there is a case in reality where exactly this behavior is shown, but in my opinion, I didn't see something like that. So last thing is this checkbox. When you don't understand the second part of this tooltip, then hold on to the first section. If this checkbox is active, then the pause or the jump will be executed. We don't want to execute this pause every time. So we uncheck this box, and the second part is executed, or if is our main goal. And this says that the pause will be executed when the request is active. For the last request, it's quite simple. We go to something like 88 seconds and uncheck this checkbox, and this looks like this. Maybe we go to 91 seconds or something like this. So once you understood this behavior, it's quite simple, but the explanation is quite hard. So we click on OK, and we'll see what happens. Our main goal is, because we can't simulate a request in the editor, that this left traffic light won't show green at any time. This is the behavior of this jump. At the moment, the traffic light in east and west direction, or in east to west direction, shows something. Now we got around 30 seconds, 35 seconds of red, and then we go to green instantly. And fun fact is, a complete period, which we set to 100 seconds in the traffic light system, will be now reduced in a normal case to something like, quick math, to 79 seconds, because we skipped 21 seconds at the beginning. Yeah, it's green. Last thing is, and this is a specialty for the standard objects, for the standard traffic lights, if you place this request object, it's quite useful to set this selected object to the traffic light, something like tram left, and this is obviously for tram east to west, because following thing will happen. If you don't do this, in this case it's an A, I won't show anymore if the event which is linked to the request, like a jump or a pause, is Z. But in reality, something, especially when having a pause, the A disappears when the tram is bypassing this signal, or if the green part ends. This is a very specialty for these objects, and it's quite useful to know that you can add the request objects also to the traffic light system on the regular basis, and not you do it both. Don't be mistaken. You add these as a request object, and you add the selected objects to this traffic light to get this behavior. Okay, so this is about the request objects. I hope it was quite understandable. If not, post something in the comments, and we'll see you in the next video. Bye!